Hey folks, Gway. Um, so Easter has come and gone. We're now in the Easter season, but Resurrection Sunday has come and gone. And at a time when most Christians are jubilant and excited and energized, right? And at a time when we're celebrating and we're worshiping, man, like some, and I think it's a small number, were raging. And they were raging and they were complaining. I mean, well, listen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Um, I think I'm disappointed, right? Ultimately, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed about how thin skinned some Christians are. And I'm disappointed with how wired some Christians seem to be for outrage, how that seems to be the default mode. We need to find a reason on every single day. We need to find a reason every single day for us to be outraged. We need to be condemning someone for something if we are going to feel like we are good Christians, even on what in the Christian calendar is seen to be the most sacred day, the best day, right? The day where we recognize Jesus reigns, that nothing can keep Jesus down, that nothing can prevent God's plans from coming to fruition, that nothing can thwart God in God's desire to connect, to reconnect, and to establish a true, deep, committed relationship with all of humanity, with all of creation. It's a day where we just simply go, oh, nothing can keep us down. As Paul says, when God's got your back, who can possibly stand against you? Easter is the culmination of everything that Christians believe. We can find in Easter everything that we hold dear. And yet, for some, they just got to rage because at some point along their journey, they've lost the bloody plot. They've lost the plot. Easter is the day we recognize God's victory. Total victory. The victory of all time. And yet, they need to be offended. They need to be upset. They need to be pissed off. And they need to drag you with them. It's not enough that they're angry about something. They need to get you raging as well. They need to get their followers. They need to get other Christians alongside saying, yeah, we're angry too. This year, Easter fell on March 31st. As you know, Easter falls on a different day every year, depending on the phase of the moon and all that. This year, it happened to fall on March 31st, which is also the day, the International Transgender Day of Visibility. And as you can imagine, some of these talking faces in the media and in the political realm just could not keep themselves from losing their ever-loving minds when Biden said to the transgender Americans, I see you. You are worthy of respect and dignity. You're loved. You're wanted. Right? Like they couldn't. I can't believe he did that on Easter. He proclaimed, and that's the language was all about how Biden was the one that proclaimed this, right? Biden was the one that he proclaimed this day, this Easter Sunday, this Resurrection Sunday was also the International Transgender Day of Visibility. It's been around for 15 years. Biden had nothing to do with it. All he did was say, we love you. You're created in God's image, and you are worthy of respect and dignity. And we see you. Honest to God, you'd think that Biden kicked Jesus's dog. And then let's, add insult to injury. Well, they had an Easter egg hunt at the White House. And at that Easter egg hunt, they said, no overtly religious symbols. No overtly religious symbols. Now listen, on an Easter Sunday, that's going to be real difficult given the fact that Easter is a Christian holiday, right? And the cross is a pretty big deal. The cross is a pretty big deal on Easter Sunday. It's a big deal all the time, but it's a really big deal on Easter Sunday, this symbol of the cross, the empty tomb. Well, apparently First Lady was the one who organized this. And in her wisdom, you correct me if I'm wrong, but in her wisdom, she followed rules that had been established 45 years ago. They just followed pre-existing rules when it came to this public event. They followed 45-year-old rules. Now, what 45 years means is that Reagan followed them, 2 George Bushes followed them, and a Trump, as well as all the Democratic presidents along those lines that were presidents during that time. And yet, some of these Christian mouths were just flapping. Can't have that. This is the worst thing ever. This is the most awful thing. This was mocking our faith. This is mocking our God. This is mocking our festival. It's mocking our celebration. It's mocking our religion. Christians, I'm reminded that some Christians are very, very easily upset. And in this particular case, these Christians, these people who profess to be Christians, they're just looking to be outraged about something. And they desperately want you to be outraged as well. They desperately need you to be angry. They desperately need you to be pissed off at the world. They need you to believe that somehow Jesus' victory on Easter Day, that we celebrate on Easter Day, it wasn't quite enough. It wasn't quite adequate, right? There's more to be done. That at any point, the devil may come along and snatch this victory out of God's hands, which would mean Jesus ultimately died for nothing. Of course, that's not true. Jesus' victory is everything. It was full and complete across all time, past, present, future. It is a full, absolutely complete victory. The devil ain't never going to snatch it out of God's hands. The only one who can truly snatch it out of your hands is you, if you were to say it wasn't enough. If you don't accept the enormity of the grace that God rained down on all creation on that first Easter Sunday when Mary found the tomb to be empty. I would encourage you all that when you hear these flapping lips speak, yell, rage, when you hear these people who are telling you that your faith is being mocked and you are this and you should be this and you should be that and we must all stand in rage, remember what Jesus tells his disciples in the Gospel of Matthew in the 24th chapter. He's like, listen, be careful nobody leads you astray. All right? Be careful that nobody leads you astray. People are going to come and they're going to talk and they're going to try to convince you about wars, and they're going to tell you about the rumors of wars, and they're going to tell you about all kinds of evil things that are happening. And indeed, evil's going to happen. Persecution's going to come. Suffering's going to come. Famine is going to come. War is going to come. Natural disasters are going to happen. But this doesn't mean the end's coming. Don't be alarmed by these guys. Don't give in to these jokers. They're doing something. They're saying these things for their reasons. They've got an agenda, and it isn't God's agenda. If you can remember that, then remember also that when you see the Mike Huckabees and you see the Fox News hosts and you see the Newsmax people and you see, right-wing politicians lose their ever-loving mind about how Christianity is a big victim again. That Christianity is under attack again. That there's another war brewing about Christmas and now Easter. I mean, what are they going to say next year when Easter falls on 4/20? Right? Are they gonna claim that all of our pot-loving brothers and sisters did this specifically to mock Jesus? Right? What are they gonna do in 5 years when Easter falls on April Fool's Day? Oh, the firestorm that one's gonna bring. I encourage you that when you hear somebody tell you about how Christianity's under attack, at least here in the West, when you hear about how Christians here in America have it so tough, when you hear about Christians who are being told that they're not allowed to be hateful anymore, that they're not allowed to just say whatever they want when it comes to people of other orientations and identities, when they're not allowed to say things that may indeed lead to violence against others, please understand they have an agenda, and that agenda has nothing to do with Christianity. They need you angry. They need to keep you in a state of perpetual stress. They need to keep you in a state of perpetual frustration and annoyance. They need you to be convinced that there is a devil, a demon, hiding behind every bush, someone waiting to jump out and snatch away from you that which is most precious, and ultimately, oddly enough, that which can never be taken from you. Don't fall for it. When you hear these people tell you about wars and rumors of wars to come, when you hear them telling you about impending doom that's just right around the corner, don't be alarmed. Don't fall for it. Ask, what's their agenda? Why are they trying to get me so worked up? Why are they trying to lead me away from the peace that Jesus promises us? No matter what befalls us, we're promised that God will always be with us. Why are they trying to convince me otherwise? May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. Don't be fooled by these false prophets. Don't be fooled by these people who need you to be upset all the time. Don't be fooled by these false prophets who are trying to lead you away, who are trying to convince you that God's grace is somehow insufficient, who are trying to convince you that God's love is about to be snatched away from you and from your family and from your community. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. Amen. Nemoltes.